If you're struggling with any womb issues, period pain, or you just want to learn to understand what your womb is trying to tell you at any given time, this message is for you. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Zion. I'm a womb guide, a feminine embodiment facilitator, and emotional healing facilitator. And today we're going to talk about the messages that are coming from your womb. We're going to cover the emotional and energetic component that lives behind these misalignments. And I'm also going to share with you 3 very, very common emotional and energetic root causes for most women, regardless of what it is that they're struggling with related to their womb. And what I'm going to share with you today comes from years of experience working with women and also with myself to support them on their womb health. And the fact that so many of us are struggling with our womb health is not a coincidence. We live in a world that is not built considering the needs of women. And so a lot of us are struggling with things that we have normalized, right? Just because it's common, it doesn't mean that it's normal. Period pain is not normal. Endometriosis is not normal. Most cysts are not normal, okay? Like some are not harmful, but others are. Fibroids are not normal. Vaginal pain is not normal. Candida overgrowth, all of these things, they happen to a lot of us, but it doesn't mean that everything's okay. And also, it doesn't mean that it's just physical. It doesn't mean that there's just something wrong with your body. Your body has reached that state because there's been something leading up to it. So there's always an emotional and energetic component behind every single ailment in the body, 100% of the time. And when we have access to this, we can turn it around. So we are so used to looking at things from the surface. You know, we try to fix the symptom, and that's understandable because it's painful, it's uncomfortable, it makes our lives harder. But what we need to understand is that the symptom is trying to give us a message. It's trying to show us the way. And the womb is such a powerful space for personal truth. So when there's something off with our womb, there's something about our personal truth that we need to pay attention to. And there was a time when I hated my womb. Crazy to say this, but there was a time when I hated bleeding. I hated having a menstrual cycle because my periods were so painful. Like debilitating, nausea, fainted multiple times, pain spreading down my thighs. It was just horrible. And it's understandable that we begin to feel this way about our wombs, that we feel this way when we are suffering. But what I realized is that this was one of the best things that could have happened to me now, in hindsight. Of course, not in that moment. But through that pain, I was able to understand that a lot of things needed to change in my life and that I needed to pay attention to certain wounds, emotional wounds that were not resolved. So the womb is a powerful initiator. She is your biggest ally, even if sometimes it doesn't feel like it. She's always going to speak to you. Sometimes it's a whisper, but if you ignore her for very long, if you ignore your true feminine needs for very long, it will turn very loud and you will feel it in your body. So having painless periods is possible. I am living proof, and I've seen many, many women experience that change too. healing from all kinds of womb issues is also possible. I've literally seen it before my eyes. Women releasing big clumps of fibroids, women healing from all kinds of things related to the reproductive system. This is possible, and it's not magic. It's just understanding what your body is trying to tell you. It's about listening. It's about leaning in and knowing that those moments when it hurts, those moments when you are suffering with something connected to your womb, those moments are the doorway. They have the information that you need, not only to heal your womb, but to change what needs to change in your life. So womb work is not just for the womb, it's full body work life, full body, full life work. And I want to share with you 3 of the most common emotional and energetic blockages that I see when I work with women for their womb health. So the first one is stress. As I was saying earlier, we live at a pace that is absolutely not normal for our bodies. It's not normal for our biology, for our cycles, for our nature. We were not built to rush, to have a million things to do at once, to be up in our heads overthinking. We were not here to have consistent productivity levels. Feminine energy is not like that. And so the stress that we're accumulating in our bodies, the tension, all of those emotions that we're keeping inside, they manifest in the body. And a lot of times, the thing that women need the most is to slow down. And when they really, really slow down, they start to see huge changes and healing happening so fast in their wombs. And this is something that I'm going to go a lot deeper in my upcoming masterclass. That is going to happen live tomorrow. There's also going to be a replay if you can't make it live. It's called Return to Softness. And make sure to comment soft if you want the link to join, because we're going to go so deep into how to create that deep relaxation in your body, that restoration of your softness, how you can release all that tension and begin to live from a different place where you're putting your feminine energy at the center. It's going to be so beautiful. And this part is the most important part, seriously. Sometimes women only need to slow down and their period pain goes away. And this first point actually is connected to the next 2 points that I'm going to share. And you'll see why. So slowing down is very important, because when we slow down, we can actually be present with what we're feeling, and we can create space for ourselves, space for our needs, and space for that stress to leave our bodies. And that's not something we can do through the mind. It's not going to work like that. It doesn't matter how much you understand what's happening in your body, what's happening in your life. You need to learn the language of your body to regulate your nervous system, to release any stuck trauma that might be there held in your womb or in your body, and communicate to her that you are safe through her language. Right? So all of that stress can leave you. And stress is something that can be expressed in many ways. It can be anxiety, it can be fear, it can be tension, right? It can be a lot of things. There's many forms of stress that we experience. Whatever is overstimulating us, whatever is tensing us up, those are things that we need to reconsider in our lives. And this is really, really important. Okay, so the second thing that I see very often on an emotional level behind the womb issues is the rejection of our feminine energy. When we have resistance towards our feminine aspects, that is reflected in our womb health, because the womb is a space that is like this gatekeeper, this sacred sanctuary that's holding our feminine energy, right? It's like totally connected to what is feminine for us. So when we reject our vulnerability, our feelings, our bodies, our sexuality, our creativity, our self-expression, when we reject our menstrual cycle, our menstrual blood, or the fact that we're a woman in the world, all of this is reflected in our wombs. She can feel it. And oftentimes we are so disconnected from the womb, so disconnected from her. And we often just think about her when we think about reproduction, but there's so much untapped power in the womb that we need to connect with. It's not just something that makes our lives better and more beautiful. It's an absolute need. It's a very essential part of our lives. It's not just an organ that lives in our bodies. It's an energetic space that rules a lot of aspects of our lives, and that rules our feminine empowerment and our sense of self. So the more that we reevaluate our relationship to what is feminine, to being a woman, to our bodies, all these things I just mentioned, the more connected we're also going to be with our feminine energy in a healthy way, and our womb is going to reflect that. Even our blood can change, by the way, and I will go a lot deeper into that in another conversation, but our menstrual blood gives us a lot of messages about our health and also about where we're at emotionally and energetically. So amazing. Okay, and the third thing that I want to share, emotional component to womb issues today, is boundaries. Oof! Boundaries. Boundaries are so important for womb health. When we have really clear boundaries and we have a clear sense of who we are, what we want, what we don't want, what we need, what we like, what we don't like, and we take good care of that, when we honor our truth, honor our desires, honor our yes and our no, this is so aligned with the true expression of your womb energy, because womb is so rooted in clarity. Like if you connect with your womb and the messages of your womb, you will realize that the way she communicates is so clear. It's unwavering. It's sharp. It's not like when we connect with angels or with a heart, it can be a lot more ambiguous. But the womb is like rooted, connected down with roots down into the earth. And she is sharp. And she knows, like she's always guiding you towards self-love, always. And that's why when we have womb issues, it's so important to listen to her, because she is going to be your best friend in creating a life that honors you deeply. And that's why boundaries are so important. A lot of the times we are crossing our own boundaries, or we let other people cross our boundaries, or we're scared to say no, we're scared to say yes, we're scared to ask for the things that we want. And it's like we shrink, right? And we feel invaded, we feel violated, we feel used. Of course, we're gonna feel this in our wombs. And a lot of us, we experience these boundary violations too in our intimacy, in our sexual relationships, and even emotionally, the way we relate to other people, the way we treat ourselves. It's really important to pay attention to that, because again, when we really honor ourselves and we put ourselves at the center of our lives, a lot of these things go away. And it's funny because many things related to, womb issues cause women to physically shut down, so they can't even be too intimate because it hurts or because it just makes it worse. And a lot of times it's because that's what we need, not because there's anything wrong with being intimate, but because sometimes there's things that are just off in the way that we're doing it. And the womb speaks to us. Or maybe there's just something off about that kind of relationship. Or maybe there are emotions and memories that we haven't processed around our intimacy, our bodies, and all these things that we've talked about. So it's so important to listen that your body knows. Your body is for you. And she is trying to support you. And that's why the first thing that I wanted to name is slowing down, right? Like letting go of that stress. We need to slow down so we can listen, so we know what our boundaries are, so we know when something feels off, when we're not really doing what we really want to do, or when we are doing something because we think we should. We can't feel that if we're just going on automatic, doing overthinking outwards all the time. We need to slow down. And we also need to slow down to reconsider all these aspects of our femininity, right? So we tend to see softness and slowing down as something that, yeah, it's nice. We do it when everything's done. We go on holidays a couple times a year, maybe. We enjoy the weekends. Maybe we do, this and that. It's like something like a luxury or something like that. Or something that we do sometimes. That is nice, but it's not just, something nice and luxury. It's something that should be part of your life every single day. And there are ways to make that happen. And that's not something that you need to figure out now. But maybe you just need to create more spaces in your life where you can start to introduce that softness and that ease back into your body. And it's very powerful to have this in mind and to put it into practice in your day-to-day. Like realize when you're rushing, when you don't need to. And when you're tensing up, when you can soften your muscles. And when your breath is tight and short, and when you can elongate it and make it more open. And we see the most impact. We see the most of a difference when we work on a deep subconscious somatic level, because there's a lot of things that are just deeply rooted in our subconscious body now, and a lot of us need to restore our nervous systems and just the frequency that we're holding in our bodies, because we are really too used to all the anxiety and the stress that is in our bodies so much that sometimes we don't even realize how unsafe we feel. And so going into deeper practices is actually really important to see that long-term result. So you don't have to constantly be doing grounding practices. You don't have to try a million therapies or anything like that. Sometimes it's just about learning to work with the wisdom of your body and your womb. And that's why for me, feminine embodiment, working with conscious movement practices has been such a breakthrough. And that's why I just put it in all of my offers, because I can see how powerful and how beautiful it is to feel embodied, to feel connected to ourselves, to feel that we can deeply release all of those old stories, old conditionings, and old ways of being, shift into a different state that becomes our new baseline. That's something that you can have, and that will be reflected in your womb health 100% of the time. So let me know how this is resonating. I would love to hear. And if this is something that you want to go deeper into, again, my masterclass Return to Softness is happening tomorrow. You are very welcome to join. The access is still free. So just comment soft below for the link. This masterclass is not just going to be a space where you're going to receive a bunch of information. Yes, there's going to be a powerful transmission about all of this, but we're also going to do an embodiment practice, and you're going to be able to feel it in your body. You're going to be able to experience that release of tension, release of unnecessary fear and blockages, and tap into your softness, restore some of that feminine sweetness, and connect with the healing power of your sensuality. Sensuality is, I mean, I could go into that for forever, but that's another thing that we underestimate. Just like softness, we think it's this luxury or this thing that we do when we have sex or whatever. And sensuality is not any of that. We're gonna go a lot deeper into it tomorrow. And it's literally so healing, and it can restore a lot of these things and bring us back to where we belong, which is not suffering. We belong in creativity, we belong in ease, we belong in pleasure, we belong in connection, we belong in being grounded and deeply free and empowered. And that, for me, those are important components, natural components of feminine energy. And that is your birthright. Thank you so much, Louise. Thank you for your comment. So thank you all so much for being here with me. Let me know how this is resonating. And I just want to close this conversation by saying that I know sometimes when you're struggling with your womb, it can make you feel desperate. That was my case. And sometimes we try all kinds of things, right? We go to the doctor, they recommend different procedures, or they prescribe us with hormonal birth control, all these things. And I just want you to know that it doesn't have to be so complicated. That painful situation doesn't have to last forever, and that you don't have to compromise any aspect of yourself, any aspect of your life. You don't have to go to extreme interventions right away. And it's important to just question what you are being advised, because healthcare system, many situations, is not really advocating for our health, unfortunately. So it's really important that you consider what your body is trying to tell you and approach it, yes, from a physical, medical point, and also to address it from an emotional, unconscious space, because that's really where all these things are rooted and where your shift is waiting for you. The key is there. The key is in the symptoms, and you can absolutely let that go. It doesn't have to last forever. And not only that, but you can come out of that feeling a lot more connected to yourself and to your feminine energy. And that is beautiful. There's no words. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited to see you tomorrow for my masterclass. And yeah, I'm looking forward to connect with you. Sending you so much love. Bye bye.